Okay.
Remember my name, but he remembered my ACC number.
Anyway, there are a few things that I want to review before we move on that I think were really important in the first class. There's a lot of stuff, whether you remember that Sir John Suckling lived 33 years or not, probably doesn't have a hell of a lot to do with your game of cribbage. But there are a couple of factors in here that are pretty important. And I noticed this happening a lot in our club. In fact, I was so motivated by observing this that I wrote a paper called Double Run Hypnosis. Those of you who were here last week know what that's about. If you want to read it in detail, it's on the ACC website, and that's what it's called, Double Run Hypnosis. And here's how that manifests itself. Doesn't make any difference what the other card is, but so many people are going to hold this. How many points are here?
If you spread them all, we can see 8.
Spread them out. Spread them out.
Okay, we got what? Have we got just a regular double run?
Yes.
8 points.
Okay.
8.
And then we have a 2, 3, 4 of diamonds there, don't we? We have a 2, a 3, a 4 of diamonds. Now how many points do we have?
9.
You have 9. No. You kept this. Most people keep this because they think they'll have a 16 hand maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What happens with this one if you cut the deuce, the 3, or the 4?
You get a lot more.
Well, you don't get a lot more, but what do you got?
16. No more than 15.
You got run a diamond plus
You got 16.
16.
If you got the 2, 3, or the 4, you got 16. Plus, what does this card allow you in the pegging game? An escape. You might not want to play all these little suckers all close together, especially if you lead a 4 and I put a 5 on it. You might decide it might be a good idea to get away. So you got a card that will allow you to get away. So don't miss these. Flushes are huge. And right here you can see how huge they are. If you look at these scores, 7, 9 on down here through 18, and you look at how can you score this number of points with 15s and sequences, you look at 7, there's 146 ways to get it with a sequence or a 15. And there's 242 ways to score it with a flush. And then you look at 9, 77, 123. Some of these are really lopsided, odd scores especially, like 11. There are only 8 ways to score 11. But with a flush, there's 146 ways. Think how many times you lay down a flush and you go 15, 2, 15, 4, 3, 7, 4 is 11. I mean, 11 is a very common count with a flush. And so it is with 13. There are only 2 ways to score 13. What might they be? That's one of them.
Raggedy Ann. But, yeah.
That's the one. What would the other one might be? Is there 2 jacks with 2 5s with a card on the deck to match the jack?
Yeah.
That's the only 13. But if you're looking at flushes, there's 77 different ways to score 13 points with a flush. And if you look at some of these others, like 18, there's only 4 hands that score 18 in cribbage. But if you look at flush possibilities for 18, there's 37 of them. So don't miss, it pays to flush. Now, I don't recommend you give up points to hold a flush necessarily, but if you've got equal points, the flush is a good keep because there's 13 cards in a suit. See? If you think about the diamonds, I mean, there's 4 of them here, but there's 13 altogether. So there's a better chance of me cutting a diamond than there is cutting a deuce, a 3 or a 4 or a 9. But 3 times the opportunity to cut the suit rather than an individual card. So it pays to flush. The other thing I want you to remember out of that was these cards called key connectors. Who can tell me what a key connector is? What is a key connector?
You can't have a run without it.
Yeah, anyway, among the cards, if you look at the deck, we got a 1, 2, 3, 4. Of those 4 cards, the 3 is the key connector. If you look at the 5, it's a key connector because it connects with all of those face cards and 2 3s and 1 4s and 4 6s and 5 3. You see what I mean? 1 9 2 8 3 7 4 6 1. You got all of these possibilities. 1 9 2 8 3 7 4 6 5 1 4 5 2 3, and then Jack Queen 10 Jack Queen King. So the 5 is the main connector in the board, which in the deck of 52, which says that you hadn't ought to throw one to your opponent's crib unless you got a really good hand and you like where you are. If you don't need all them points, play it safe. You got 2 8s, 2 7s, and 2 5s. If you need 20 points or better, play it. If not, throw 5 8. If you like where you are on the board and 6 points is just fine, throw the 5 8. Okay. So then we got the middle cards, 6, 7, 8, 9. 7 is a key connector. Those of you who are observant already know that a 7 with a king to the crib, even though it looks like it's okay, is not really that okay. Because the 7 is the key connector. It has value in and of itself. So when it comes to discarding to your own crib, and in the face card, we're talking the Jack as being the key connector. Jack is the key connector. It's often the card that's missing. So if you provide it in your own crib, if you can only put one 10-pointer in your own crib, make it the Jack. If you can only put one middle card in your crib, make it the 7. If you can only put one small card in your crib, make it the 3. And conversely, avoid, if you have a variety of cards to do that, avoid giving your opponent the key connector. And you'll do a lot to reverse the size of cribs. We'll be talking about that in just a minute. You get that on the importance of the flush. And when we play tonight, ask questions. Now, each of you have a packet of information, and I'll refer to the numbers once in a while, and I'll generally flow pretty close to what your material is.